33-story hotel and condo project.
I'd probably be
Okay,
like
like
that.
stop, tap.
This is a plan by the community for the community.
This one here, show me.
No problem, Ken. Thanks for having me.
It's Kent Mulgat for Kelowna Now. And we're joined by Jan Schultz from In From the Cold. First of all, thank you for all you do.
You're
for
so
these
welcome. Thank you.
You know, we see all of these homeless people, and you know, it is so good that there's people like you that are willing to do something to give people a place to put their head down for the night. But you have to move out November 1st from In From the Cold.
No, we have to move out October 1st.
So what happens?
So we are desperately looking for a new location. As you can imagine, that's quite hard. In Kelowna, NIMBY is quite alive and well. And so hopefully we will find a new location and slide into that one. I am firmly hopeful that we will at least have something by November 1st, which is our typical winter season.
Right. So right now you enjoy a preferential low rent from the Knights of Columbus to have the spot you're in.
The Knights of Columbus are our landlords and have been all along, and they have been very supportive of us, and because they too are a helping organization, the rent is very nice.
Right. So you're not in a position to pay top dollar, and you want a fair amount of space. Currently, how many people take advantage of In From the Cold on Sutherland?
Typically, we have enough beds for about 45, but then we also help people who come in who are sleeping rough outside, but they need a hot meal at night. So we may well give extra meals there and help other people.
Right. So to keep doing something similar to what you're currently doing, you need what sort of square footage?
Right about 2,500, somewhere around there. We don't need a big space. We don't
Right.
particularly want a big space.
So what would you imagine? What sort of building, if it drops out of the sky for you, are we talking about here? What would work?
Well, a hall, basically, some kind of hall or large room that we could then subdivide. I mean, we have a women's area and a men's area and an area for transgender. So we try to be accommodating to all, but we will need washrooms and we will need showers. Doesn't have to be a lot. It certainly isn't a lot right now. But it's just basic requirements that we need.
Right.
We don't need anything fancy. And we don't want to be high profile either.
Do you have a war chest of funds with which to sort of convert to space if it's made available to you?
We do have monetary backing, shall we say.
Okay, so if someone had a facility that is not geared up the way you described, but yet the square footage is available to you, you could maybe get to work on it.
Absolutely. We were fortunate to have some wonderfully generous donors who can help us either with labor or materials or money to pay for that. So
Right.
yes.
So what comes to mind? I mean, do you have your eye on any spots that you try to cajole people to know?
To be honest, no. I mean, we've tried beating the bushes. We have realtors out looking for us. But to be fair, I've been looking for over 3 years. So it's desperate now because we don't have anywhere else.
It's just not sounding good. So when the November doldrum set in, you know, these people have grown accustomed to knowing that they can at least literally get in from the cold at your place. What's going to happen with those people?
If we don't have another location to go to, unfortunately, it will probably mean that they will be heading downtown. And that is because that's where the services are. At the moment, the guests that we serve have a hot meal and have supper, as well as a bed for them. But if they don't have that In From the Cold, they will migrate to downtown, is my sense.
Right.
Because that's where the services are. That's where they can get a meal. They might not be able to get a bed, but at least they can get a meal.
There are some new projects that are being built with various levels of government contributing. Is that going to be enough to pick up the slack?
It will be eventually. The Journaling Home Initiative is fabulous, and I'm fully supportive of that. The sad thing is that is really talking about in 5 years' time, or it will happen over a period of time. It's the interim I'm worried about.
Right. So if someone's watching this, is there anything they can do? I mean, there's a lot of people that care a lot about some of the human suffering that they see in their community, and they want to see people like you at least have a chance to help them, what can people do?
Well, people can always phone me or email and come up with some suggestions of places they might have. They could look around and talk around to people that they know who might be able to help us in that regard. And we're always taking donations, of course, to be able to help. In From the Cold is not closing. The shelter is closing, but our other services will remain, and we will still be helping those who are the vulnerable citizens in our
How
community.
do you help them with you won't even have a kitchen, will you?
We have a tiny kitchen, but we can certainly have, we have enough to heat up soup, to do things like that. We can absolutely feed
Right.
them in one way or another.
So you're going to keep your board of directors that you have
Oh, absolutely.
in place and keep helping people as best you can. You'll just be homeless, so to speak.
Yeah. Well, we have offices, so that's separate.
Right. You were saying prior to the interview that not everybody that uses In From the Cold fits the profile that people might imagine. They're not. Some of them are actually employed people.
Absolutely. We have a number who stay at the shelter every night and get up, ask for a wake-up call at 5 o'clock so that they can get up and get out to work. Typically it's construction, but not necessarily. We have janitorial services are performed by some of our guests. So yeah, all over the gambit.
Right.
A lot of people just have a challenge because they cannot afford housing.
Yeah. It is tough. And the Cornerstone, that lease comes up and it'll be closing down in the early part of next year. And then you guys, as you're saying, in October. It looks like there's going to be a bit of a gap there.
Exactly. And that really worries me, especially that gap falls during the not so nice months of the year.
Yeah. Well, let's just hope that a solution falls from the sky, and I'm glad you came on here to at least hear about your situation, and who knows, maybe there's somebody watching this right now that has a good idea.
Maybe there is.
Terrific.
Let's hope so.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, Kent.
Jan Schultz, I'm In From the Cold, and thank you for watching Kelowna Now.